Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous, lovely Libras. It's funny, that's how I used to open up your reading, my lovely Libras. Um, First of all, let me apologize that your reading is late. This is for August 2025. I try really hard to get all the readings done and ready for the beginning of the month, but who knows? This may be the perfect time. Like, I don't think anything is an accident. At least at this table, let's say, I feel like it's probably your divine timing. This is going to be for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising. Many of you are intuitively guided. Thank you for paying attention to your intuition. You could certainly be in love with a Libra, platonically or romantically. I have Libra love. My nephew Sean, who is right on the cusp. He is the 24th of September. So he's right on that cusp of Virgo Libra. And then my gorgeous granddaughter Lily, and she really is gorgeous. She's a young woman now. It's crazy. But hers is October 14th. And my sister, who has crossed over, and I feel like she's the one who gave me the word lovely, lovely Libras. I always feel like she's in our readings. So hers was October 15th, and it's Sean's mom. So, anyways, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking because you've already had to wait. And I'm going to go ahead and get into your reading. I do want to remind you that I did opposites this month. So, um, I was doing them for a while and then I switched it up, but I'm back to doing opposite signs. And all I mean by that is I do yours and I do your opposite. And the reason why I do that, I feel there's so much we can learn from our opposite sign. Um, yeah, I just do. So, anyways, let's go ahead and I'm going to pull the lid down and let's open up this reading. So, we will, of course, give Mother Mary the honor of opening up the reading. We will use the crystal vision to clarify and go deeper. We will use our major arcanas. For anyone who's new, I use these for like bullet points, but many times they tell their own beautiful little story, but they definitely let us know what's coming, like what our spread's going to be about. And speaking of the spread, our main spread is going to be the Tarot Dreams has that honor. So let's go ahead and begin. And let's start with Mother Mary. Take a couple deep breaths. Try to just let go of any anxiety. Be willing to just let it flow. You know, this is why, at least here, why the readings are longer because it is like your life is unfolding in front of me. And that takes time. You know what I mean? Like at this table, I don't want you walking away without clarity, some type of clarity or comfort. This is why I do it. This is why I do it. So, I feel like I just cut them, but never hurt to cut again. All right. And by the way, everything is always pre shuffled. So, Libra, I have a good feeling. Mother. Interesting. Mother. It's so interesting because the first thing I think of is my sister. Because she's Sean's mother. And I have to say, I feel like it's a very good omen that your spirit guides, your loved ones who have gone before you, are here also. When my guides are here, your guides are here. It's just the way it is. Um, and many times we have the same guides. So, because I feel like we're all one big soul. I don't know why I always say I feel. I know we're one big soul family. So, anyways, mother. Mother. I open my heart to my mother's humanness and her divinity. Mother. All right. We will put mother right there. And I just get a feeling we're going to get the Empress somewhere. Let's bring in the major arcanas. Give them a little shuffle. Not much to shuffle here. Give them a cut. And let's begin. So, really try to calm your energy. Be very honest with yourself also. And the reason why I say that is sometimes in a reading, like the truth is the truth. And sometimes we don't want to face that truth. Um, but it serves us. It definitely serves us. And I don't even know why I'm talking about this already. We have the hangman. So this is a pause in the action. The hangman is seeking wisdom to use, like spiritual wisdom, but to use on this earthly plane. And the hangman is the one who has really loosely bound himself. I say loosely because he could free himself at any time. But there's some type of wisdom that he or she is seeking. So we'll see what comes out next to it because he's definitely swaying in that direction. Judgment. Listening for my spiritual team to guide me. And here they are. Look at that. And here they are. And by the way, judgment is calling you to the present moment. So that makes me feel like the hangman has to, like, loosen those bounds and free, Well, I don't really feel like someone feels trapped, but I do feel like someone wants some type of movement and maybe is looking for like the right time. So judgment would be the right time. Judgment is calling you to the present moment. But that's because there's signs that are being sent your way. And it looks like you're seeking them. So be open to receiving them. And, it's interesting because some of the guidance you receive, again, it may not be exactly what you wanted to hear, but yet I feel like your spiritual team, if they're guiding you, they're only guiding you to, you know, something good. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's keep going, see if anything else wants to come out. I usually like to take 3 to 4. Sometimes we get more, just like right now. Oh no, we got 4. We have the strength card. Interesting. First of all, it's Carleo. But this is about our own inner self, our own inner beast. When I see the lion, I think of the king of the jungle. But yet here you are taming it. So it's really talking about your inner beast. It can talk about things that, need to be overcome. But again, it does feel like you have. It's also an 8. So the number of infinity, as above, so below. No beginning, no end. And it's also about new beginnings. And judgment is definitely feels like they're saying it's time for this new beginning. And then we have the Emperor. Interesting. Card of Aries. But this can also talk about business ownership. Aries is looking in, or the Emperor is looking into the reading. Interesting because the Hangman is looking this direction, the Emperor's looking this direction, but Judgment is blowing the trumpet right to the Hangman. So when I think of the Emperor, I think of quite a few different things. I definitely feel it's someone I can look up to. If it's a person, I this person is definitely a leader, leads with compassion and empathy, but the Emperor's also very methodical. And for some of you, this hangman time might have been about laying some groundwork, to potentially open up your own business, start a new business. Um, it can also talk about promotions. Like, it feels good, but the strength card makes me feel like there is one little thing that's within that just needed to be dealt with or realized in some way. And then everything seems to start moving. Interesting, we have mother, and now we have the father figure. All right, well, let's bring in the Tarot of Dreams, and let's just go ahead and go deeper. So you're definitely being offered some opportunity, and your spiritual team is going to help guide you to it. And I really love the Emperor. If this isn't a person for you, then it makes me feel like, I don't know. It makes me feel like, how do I want to say this? Like you are, I want to say raising dimensions, but that doesn't sound right. You are raising vibrations. Let's put it that way. You're raising your own vibration, and therefore, whatever comes back to you will be of the same vibration. All right, if all that made sense, let's give the Tarot of Dreams a cut. And let's go ahead and start this portion. See where judgment is guiding you towards. I mean, he's definitely guiding you towards the Emperor. Um, but there's something about the Strength card in between the Emperor and Judgment. Some of you may have been waiting for someone else to, excuse my language, but maybe get their shit together. And I feel like there may be a few of you who carry something that either both your parents or one of your parents may have had an issue with. Like it was their own inner demon and it may have followed into your lifetime. But listen, it may be you who breaks that chain forever. And that means for future generations. I would call you a hero for that. All right. Two swords kind of explains the hangman. Two swords is, can be blocking an opportunity. This person has a blindfold on, so there's something they don't want to face. But the truth is, we have to face it. Because facing it, whatever it is that we're trying not to face, when we wear the blindfold, I feel it just makes that problem bigger, badder. Or we have the illusion that it's something that we won't be able to overcome, but this is showing you that you can and you will. It's a little bit of fear. We have, interesting, the Six of Wands, which is victory and success. It's also spiritual and material prosperity. So we have judgment as our spiritual. We have the Emperor for our material. Interesting. And then literally victory and success. But some of you don't believe that yet. And it might be about yourselves. Like, and the thing is, look at this person. Like other people are looking up to them, seeking wisdom. And really what they're seeking is, how did you get to where you're at? The Emperor looking over the Strength card, I could see that being some of you helping others to overcome things that you yourself may had to overcome, or could have been family members. But this is you with the spotlight on you. This is you having victory. So there's something about it you're not believing yet. We have the King of Swords, probably you, but doesn't have to be. Could be another Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. And some people were like, well, how do I know? You should feel it. Like in my readings, because they are soul to soul, like I'm really speaking into your soul, um, you should feel it. So let's keep going. Interesting. The Four of Cups. Four of Cups talks about discontentment and boredom in one's emotional world. But there is a cup coming in. It's coming right from the hand of divine. Usually you'll see this person looking at the cups down here and not this new cup. This person's looking right at it though. So, what type of fulfillment is this bringing you? It's definitely of emotional nature. All right, let's keep going. I definitely want to see what's mirroring that Two of Swords. Okay, beautiful. Nine of Wands. I say beautiful, but this is not the easiest of work, but it is work that pays off tenfold. This is about inner reflection, but not about judgment. This is you looking back. When you find yourself like stuck, or, let's say you're in a shitty relationship, but like something is making you stay. What I'd tell you to do is look back at your own history. I can think of relationships where, when they were coming to an end, I thought, oh, it's the end of my life. It's the end of the world. But then you meet someone new. I think about like the person I'm with now, who was my first love. And it never would have happened if I wouldn't have made certain moves, decisions beforehand. And it had nothing to do with the person I'm with. These were personal. Well, I broke up with someone. But anyway, the reason why I'm talking about this is looking back, but understanding like everyone behind this person is an experience, something they've overcome, something they've learned. I call this person my spirit warrior because I feel like it's bold when you look back. Lots of times we can find our own answers and it lies within our own history. But this is about being proud of who you are today because of what you've been through. I feel like the strongest of souls do get the hardest of lessons, but I feel like it's because our souls can handle it. Our souls probably wanted this lesson, especially if you think of Earth as a classroom, right? We're spiritual beings in these human bodies, but we're spiritual first and foremost. Life is temporary. So, when you think of that, like life is temporary, well, let's say, and I'm not really feeling this at this point, but let's just say that I've been connected with someone who really has not been treating me well. And then you remember that you were given this life. This is your life. This is your life to write a story, right? Write the story of your life. How do you want it to look? I often think about when we leave this world that many of us will be what I feel is spiritual teachers, helping the young souls to understand Earth. What did you do down there? Yeah, I got afraid and I did nothing. Versus, well, I dealt with some real shit, but let me tell you, well, you wouldn't say that, but this is how I overcame. This is how I became the healer, whatever it may be. So, anyways, Nine of Wands mirroring that Two of Swords, it's telling you that you can find that answer, or if there's something, again, that you don't want to face, the Nine of Wands to me, it feels like it's good energy, like the fear of the Two of Swords. It really doesn't feel like it needs to exist. There may be something I need to deal with, but I feel like if I do, or when I do, well, then I feel like something beautiful is going to open up. And why? Because you'll be ready for it. If there's anything we got to know, it's ourselves. There's not much we can control in our life, but we can control ourselves. We can't control another. And what's the sense of trying? All right, let's keep going. I'm not forgetting about that little cup. I'm saying little cup, but that cup that is coming from above. We have the Seven of Wands, but it's shown in reverse. So that's Seven of Wands, yep. Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. It's in reverse though. But sometimes I feel like I also need to, because this to me sometimes feels like a fight. And standing my ground, yes, it may be important. But then I also feel like sometimes we're standing our ground against someone or something that doesn't really care. You know what I mean? Doesn't really get us anywhere. So if it's drama filled, let's say, I would feel it'd be better to walk away than to get pulled into the drama. And that may be exactly why this is in reverse. However, I do want to say for few, there could be another energy who's got a lot of control over your life. Maybe they're causing fear in your life. Maybe they're whispering negative words. Maybe a mother. Maybe a father. All right, let's keep going now. We have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands. Passion. Rushing in. I mean, look at the way it's almost like something is pulling him back. Probably you, like, slow down. Slow down. But this is passion. And I do feel like knights will complete their mission come hell or high water. But this is a good thing. Like, I don't want to put fear on this. Because look what comes next. The lovers. Surprise, surprise. Though for some reason, I'm not really surprised. So, first of all, it's a card of Gemini. The meaning is a head over heart decision. Why does I hate when my screen goes so dark. But it is a head over heart decision. I feel like the Lovers talks about chemistry, like undeniable chemistry. I love this image because both these people are naked. And to me, that means both are comfortable within their own skin and allowing the other to also be comfortable within their, well, I shouldn't say allowing, each each appreciating each other for who they are, the good, the bad, the ugly, because nobody's perfect. So let's remember that there's no one that's perfect, but this may feel pretty perfect. So here's his cup. Now we know. It's coming right into the king. And it's interesting how, what's interesting is, well, there's a couple things that are interesting. Um, what I was going to say first is the King of Wands or the Knight of Wands is energy that's coming in. It's passion. It's desirable. And it's fast moving. But it's coming up against the Seven of Wands, and that may be why I feel like the person is pulling back the reins of the horse. Like no drama. Um, but then I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Okay. So here's the thing. Let's go back to the hangman for a second. So there's something going on where you are seeking advice. Um, I definitely feel like you're gonna find it, if you allow yourself that moment to have some clarity or, however you receive messages. Um, and I often feel like if you're someone, let's say, who's just mind is going all day, Libra, you're very social. Um, but again, seeking something. So I feel like it's in a quiet moment where you receive guidance. But for those who, let's say during the day, you really don't feel it, well, then they'll reach you at night. But I have a feeling judgment. You know what? I mean, it looks like you have a few things that are evolving to a higher level. Number one, it feels like money, and then love. If you so choose, I have a feeling there's a few of you who want to start a business, and I feel like something keeps coming before it. Like, and then the issues that come up makes you think, well, maybe I'm not meant to start this business. And I don't feel like that's the case at all. It's almost like these challenges are testing you, but in a loving way. But maybe I feel like the challenges are really helping you to, how do I say this, to better know how you see your business, how you see a creative project, but then a sense of trusting in it and forget about other people's words, negative words, those type of words that are the opposite of empowering. So, I guess long story short is I feel like your money is increasing, but I also feel like this cup, which is being represented through the lovers, which is a good thing. Ace of Wands. I feel like you're saying yes. This is passion ignited. Ignited. It's like some of you feeling something about to change. Maybe you're not sure what. Maybe that's what you're seeking. Some of you, there's energy coming towards you that is of a passionate nature, but you may be picking it up differently. And again, judgment will, well, that's probably what the reading is about, to help you see that it's not about anything you need to be fearful of. It's really quite the opposite. What am I holding? The Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is go time. Coming right into that Four of Cups where there's a cup coming in. So look at the passion around the lovers. Holy cow. And then the High Priest is beautiful. I say beautiful because number one, it's a two. And the other two that we have is the Two of Swords. So I feel like this is two different ways or two different perspectives, right? I can trust my fear-based mind or I can trust my intuition. Especially with judgment here. I feel like the answer is your intuition. Um, some of you might be second guessing because I feel like judgment will give you the guidance that you need, but some of you may be overthinking it, almost like I have a Virgo here. But yet, I feel like this is the answer. It is about trusting your intuition. And coming under the Nine of Wands, where you really are finding yourself in the Nine of Wands. You know, you may be remembering some old dreams that you had, some things that you wanted to do and create in this world, but maybe you haven't had the opportunity. Well, I feel like the opportunity is about to show. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of, well, okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles. So that's great confirming energy for anyone who's thinking of starting a new business or a new project. Eight of Pentacles is a reminder that whatever you focus on is what you'll grow. So it's literally telling you, like, if you want to start something new and you're willing to put your focus on it, then you're going to grow. It's like divine has your back. Well, look at that. Actually has your back. But that wasn't the bottom card, but it wanted to be seen. Oh my. Okay, so the bottom card is the Tower. And maybe that Tower is what starts the energy, I was going to say starts the engine of the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles says, don't be afraid to go into something as the apprentice. But just know in your mind that if you focus on it, you will be the master teacher. Well, the emperor often feels, just as the empress, I feel like is a master teacher. And for some of you, there are things I feel like that you have gone through in your life that were not easy. And some of them were of your own making. Um, I say of your own making, but it could have been things that happened. But yet, I still want to say there's a few things of your own making, which is all of our lives, by the way. But the realization of that, it does feel like someone whether it be you or maybe someone in the other lover. It definitely feels like there were things that had to be overcome within, but it definitely feels like that's exactly what happened. Otherwise, I don't feel judgment would be here. So there was a tower. I don't think this tower was meant to destroy your life in any way. I really feel like the tower is here to help you move on, move up. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go deeper. That was a weird shuffle. Let's do one more. Perfect. Sorry for slamming the cards. I have to, you know, sometimes I realize that people use headphones to listen to a reading, so I really I try not to slam the cards down. Sometimes I forget. All right. So we're going to start at the beginning, but we'll read it as a whole. So even though the beginning of the reading, it really is just the beginning, can be, it is not even like whatever issues there are, I feel like these are issues that can be overcome. And I feel no doubt with that. And I hope that you feel no doubt because I feel like when you do, then it becomes no doubt. Um, the tower could have certainly taken something, but that means it will be replaced with something better. You know, I also feel judgment is answering some prayers, but that tower had to happen. Without the tower happening, so the tower's disruption or endings, but it feels like it needed to be because judgment is about what's new, right? It's a brand new day. Okay, so I think you understand what I'm saying. I guess an easier way of saying it would be I feel like the struggle seems to be behind us. We have the Queen of Cups, can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Can be, doesn't have to be. Look at this. Judgment again, right over the Six of Wands. Victory and success. Now Judgment's like, do you have doubt now? Do you have any doubt the spotlight was meant to be on you? It doesn't have to be a physical spotlight, but for some of you, it may be a physical spotlight. I just get the sense that this period of time, you're meant to have what you would call real success and love. I get this feeling that this just may be the time of your life. And I don't think it was easy to get here, but you are here. And that's the beauty of it. And by the way, your spiritual team, and when I say spiritual team, I'm not just talking about your spirit guides. I'm also talking about your angels and your archangels. You were assigned, we all were, a spiritual team before we even stepped foot on this earth. Like the high priestess, that is our GPS. That is a gift of guidance. How am I guided? Through your intuition. The Nine of Wands, that is, again, what I call the spirit warrior. But it doesn't mean it was easy. But nonetheless, you did it. So it's like being proud of the person you are today. And maybe you really had to look at that Two of Swords. Because again, it does feel like a little bit of a blocking of an opportunity. Judgment is telling you the opposite. It's like no more hangman, no more hanging around. It's action time. But you're going to feel the energy. I have a feeling also, you're going to feel, when I say you're going to feel the energy, I feel like you're going to feel your spiritual energy. But I also feel like you're going to have more energy. And you're already, most Libras already have a lot of energy, but not all. But I do feel like you're going to have more energy. But here's the thing, I feel like there's a reason. Because there's, let's just say, fulfillment coming, but it's going to take your energy to let it be all it wants to be. That was a long way of saying something. All right, with 10 of Wands, interesting. 10 of Wands coming over this King of Swords. 10 of Wands speaks about a lot of responsibility. Doesn't always have to be negative, it could just be a time I was raising my family, and maybe now the kids are grown and it's time for me to think about me. For some of you, this could be like the groundwork that you've been laying, but now it's like, okay, you're ready. It reminds me when my daughter started tarot, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but she really felt like she needed to know the meaning, like every meaning of every card in any position in any story. And she was laying the groundwork. And that felt like judgment. And I don't mean that as judgment. That's what she felt she needed. But then she used that. You know what I mean? And then we have 4 coming over 4. I am seeing the synchronicities already. But this is healing. This is rest and rejuvenation. It's coming after the 10 of Wands. I'll take it. Right? It's almost like letting the body and the mind and the heart rest. And it may be a little actual rest before some things start to happen where there's going to be less time to rest. But I don't feel like you're going to need it. But what I also love about this is it's connecting to the Emperor and the Strength card and the 4 Cups. So it's healing. And number 1 is healing your heart. But I feel like it's so that you, if you so choose, take advantage of this cup. Now, this cup, it can talk about existing relationships also. And the ability, if we both face the true facts. What do you call that when you put 2 words and mean the same thing in the same sentence? The sense I'm getting is there's really nothing that you cannot overcome. And I feel like these are some of the lessons you've been through so that you realize that. But look at the healing and then the Ace of Wands underneath it. So even that is for a time period, but it's just what you need. I don't feel like spirit's like, I need your attention right. Well, let me back that up a little bit because judgment is asking for your attention right now. That means there are changes that will be available right now. And when I say right now, very soon, let's just say, because I do feel like you're being called out of a period of maybe not being so active, but maybe there wasn't a lot of things to do, into a period of time of being active, but in a very good way. All right. The Six of Swords. Hmm. Six of Swords over the Nine of Wands. It feels like some of you have just found your answer just to at least one question. Because the Six of Swords is about moving on. And what am I moving on from? You got to jump back one card. The Five of Swords. Toxicity. Doesn't always mean people are toxic, but it certainly can mean that. But the energy, it's just not working with the goals that you have in mind. And again, it's like if there has been anything that had seemed to come between you and let's just say the life that you want to live, this is you reclaiming that power. But how do I love this coming over the Nine of Wands? Because this is you really knowing you. And this is you kind of saying no more to anything that's toxic. I don't care if it's a person, a thing, a place. You know, like someone says, oh, you want to go to this place with me? But you know, like maybe there's a lot of fighting or something. I don't know. But you know that. Like now you would be like, no, thank you. I don't know why, but I feel like there's a lot of power behind that. Well, I do know why. Because once you truly know yourself, that's another lesson I feel like that we skip over a lot. Like, who am I? Who am I as a person? Like, what is my purpose? I already know our purpose is to help where we can help. And helping doesn't mean I give someone $1 million, though. Please, I'll take that help. It can just be a simple smile. You see someone walking and you see their eyes are down, and you just simply, something says, say hello, and you say hello. And maybe you strike up a conversation, but this, I feel like, is more about your natural healing abilities. And maybe you don't feel you carry them, but you do. All right. Queen of Cups. I don't know. She might be, well, we'll see. Like, I don't know why I can't say the words. Like, I want to say out of the picture, but something is like holding me back. So let's see why. Maybe I'm not picking that one up right. We have the Two of Pentacles. Two Pentacles, they call it the Juggler's card. I could see that here because it does feel like opportunity is showing for you in your money or in your career or creativity, like anywhere in that area. And then it does feel like love is being activated, whether it's existing. But yet we do have the Six of Swords, so I feel like if this is talking about a relationship that has run its course, and some of you that may be what you're seeking, like, do I stay or do I go? First of all, that's free will. And again, I feel like you have the answer. You just have to trust it. For some of you, it does feel like you're going. But that doesn't have to be for everyone. What am I holding? The Two of Pentacles. I feel like the Two of Pentacles, to me, I feel like it's more about using your logical mind. Like, does it make sense? You know what I mean? Let's say this is talking about a relationship that was, but again, especially with the Ten of Wands here, it could certainly talk about, an unequal give and take. Everything, in the Ten of Wands, all the responsibilities are put on your shoulders. And even though it's coming into the Lovers, I have to say, I don't feel for everyone it's about that. I feel, honestly, I feel that you're so good at something. And maybe you put this on yourself, because all of a sudden I'm getting this feeling of like, well, nobody can do it better than you. Now, are you telling yourself that, or is like a boss telling you that? But that's recognition. Like, I feel that in a good way, though it may also be exhausting. And maybe that's another reason why this Four of Swords, rest and rejuvenation. But then maybe during this rest and rejuvenation is when you go into the Nine of Wands and you really start reflecting back. Like, am I living the dreams that I had, the goals that I had? Am I living life according to my terms, or am I letting other people decide my future? Some of you, that's the energy you've been through. You're trying to figure it all out. We have, interesting, the Seven of Cups, making an emotional choice. And it can talk about, in the Seven of Cups, it can be chaotic energy. Now, it's interesting because it's coming over the Knight of Wands, which again is very fast moving. And that can feel a little chaotic. But maybe someone can't control the way they feel. But I mean in a very good way. But I could see you going like, slow down, you move too fast. But it is saying that you are going to be making a decision. It's interesting because right before that, you're making a decision, but it's the Pentacles. Okay, I get it. So I feel like this is twofold. You're making a decision on your money, on your career, or your creativity. And I say all three because I feel like many use their creativity in what they do for a living. That's why I always include it. So I definitely feel like, okay, there may be a proposal coming your way. Like, a job offer or a promotion, or you are literally starting something yourself. And then the Seven of Cups, well, I feel like now we're talking about our emotional life. And then we have that Four of Cups where a cup is coming in. Well, the Seven of Cups would back that up. But look who's sending it in. Judgment. And it's interesting, we have two spiritual teams and two lovers. So this may be people being guided to each other. But that means it's the right time. If your spiritual team is involved, it's the right time. Like if there's someone of a, let's say, a low vibration, but I myself have, really worked out the kinks in my life, well, judgment is not going to send you a lower vibrational energy. So think about that, because like attracts like. And when I think about my own vibration, but don't think about perfect, just think about doing the best I can do, then I feel like you don't have a lot to fear here. Really, I feel it's quite the opposite. It just seems like there's one little thing that got in your head. I'm saying one little thing, but then I'm looking at Ten of Wands. It could be something that's lasted for a long time. But in the same breath, even though the Ten of Wands is difficult energy, honestly, in the Ten of Wands, I often feel someone is subconsciously wishing for a tower. And there is that tower. And that tower is made of gold. So this could speak about you and what you're made of. Like once, especially once you go through the Nine of Wands and you really truly know who you are. Good luck someone coming in and trying to knock over your palace, so to speak, made of gold. All right. Questions. Oh my. Interesting. The Ten of Swords under the Ten of Wands coming over the Lovers. Why would that be? Okay. For some of you, I feel like you may be dealing with a past life, but more than one life, where, let's just say, the ultimate goal wasn't fulfilled. Like our souls have certain, let's say, predestined ideas that we would like to accomplish, predestined adventures or even predestined love. But then free will can override that. And that's just the way it is. But I don't know why I feel for, I don't know. I feel like for a lot, usually I'd say for a few, but I feel like because the Ten of Swords is about you taking dagger after dagger after dagger in your back to the point of what I feel is submission. It's like saying, I expect bad things to happen, and they do. And they do. So this tower may have just, in a way, saved your life. And I don't mean literally, but I do mean spiritually. And in many ways, I feel it. Some of you have left someone who had a habit, and it's interesting because it's also mirroring the Strength card, and it can be someone who had their own issues that only they could deal with. Like as much as we want to help, there's certain things we just can't help. I know that. You know what I mean? Like you want to help someone, but what I've now learned is it's because it's their soul's lesson or their soul's desire. Not every soul comes into this lifetime and says, I want to live a high spiritual life. Some are like, no, I just want adventure. I want fun. I want to sleep around. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that is their choice. But that doesn't mean you have to take it. It doesn't mean you got to be part of that. But yet, again, I want to go back to past lives because I feel like for some of you, there just wasn't completion. Like something came in between the two of you actually coming together. And I have a feeling it was more than one lifetime. Let me tell you another, what I feel like might be a life lesson is, Libra, you're about balance. You're about fairness. And you are emotional. You may not show it. Well, that's not true. You do show it usually. But what I'm feeling now is there are some who have dealt with certain energy over and over. Now I'm feeling in this lifetime over and over again. But nothing changed. Yet I get the sense that, again, the Seven of Wands being in reverse where it says stand your ground. I feel like you have stood your ground. I feel like you have asked for potential changes, but I don't feel like you've got them. But here's the thing, and this is not to make you feel bad about someone, but I feel like for some of you, you're seeing someone who has issues that honestly only they can deal with. Let's say someone's drinking a lot. Let's say someone has a drinking problem. You can ask them a million times to stop drinking. If you want me in your life, you have to stop drinking. But they can't seem to overcome that. Again, that's their internal battle. And judgment would tell you, you're not here to fix everyone. If you can help raise people up, that's great. Planting seeds, that's great. But don't think that you have to stay. I don't know if stay is the right word. Let's just say take energy that seems to repeat itself to put you, well, it gets in between you and your dreams. And I get it. You probably love this person or love this person because I do feel like some of you have moved on. Hmm. And, I could see now with the Ten of Wands, the Ten of Swords, the Two of Swords, but then that Four of Cups where a cup is coming in. I could see where there'd be a little like hesitation, but I want you to notice how the Four of Swords comes over that emotional discontentment to heal the heart. But remember, there's 4 swords. 3, feel the heart. I feel, and the mind. I feel the 4th sword is of our own making. It's ourselves. But this is what you're doing in the 9 of Wands. So some of you are just making this decision that enough is enough. And I feel like it's the right decision. But you have to trust yourself and your guides. All right, well, let's keep going. We'll come back and clarify that if we need to. It's interesting how you have these 2 10s, and both these 10s I would want to end. And then let's say they do end. Well, both of them have something new opening up. So the 10 of Wands has a new cup coming in. 10 of Swords has the Ace of Wands opening up. So passion ignited for whatever you want to use it for. It is coming over what feels like potential love, but I feel like also as it relates to your money. And, I'm saying, I don't know why. I feel like it's more about creative projects. Though for some of you, well, I guess that would be connected also to money. But that's the 9 of Wands over the Ace of Wands. It's almost like your spiritual team is saying, that's all we were waiting for. For some of you, in the 9 of Wands, again, when you're really reflecting, sometimes you got to forgive in that energy, and sometimes you got to forgive yourself. But I would say, when you know better, you do better. Well, that's actually Oprah said that, but I agree with that. When you know better, you do better. I can think of the beginning of my life or the beginning of my adult life and the stupid choices I made. You know what I mean? But one thing led to another, which led to another, which eventually led to really the unbelievable. All right. But look at that. Now we have 2 9 of Wands, 2 Judgments. I feel like there's something else. Well, how about 2 Knights of Wands? Wow. Coming over the High Priestess. Interesting, because the Knight of Wands over here has the 7 of Cups over it, and that's where I'm trying to make a decision, but the energy could be chaotic at the time. But now we have the Knight of Wands, so the same energy, but now it's coming over the High Priestess, your intuition. So which do I trust? 7 of Cups, not so sure. A little fearful. What if I choose the wrong one? All that comes into play. But then over here, your intuition, that first initial instinct, and your spiritual team, I can't help but feel that there are 2 spiritual teams guiding. They're working together to guide 2 together. I definitely feel like that's part of your story here. All right, I'm going to go below also. Wasn't going to, but I'm gonna. I'm gonna. We have the 3 of Swords, but it's showed in reverse. I'll take it all day long. Beautiful. So that healing worked. That healing got you moving. Got you saying no more to whatever you feel is toxic, that you feel is coming between you and you manifesting like real joy and abundance for yourself. And I do get this sense like it all had to start with you. But once you like gave the green light, well, everything else just seems to open up. As it relates to love, I feel like it's just going to be guided. So, like, I feel like you'll come across each other in a very unexpected way, or maybe an unexpected time. But what I love when judgment has anything to do with love, it literally allows you to let go of it, of the worry of it. Like, will love ever show? Well, I feel like if you just followed along and you can see how someone is progressing, evolving, well, then that means whatever's coming into your life will be of that same vibration. So that's why I feel the Nine of Wands is not just so important, but like tell yourself you are a spirit warrior. That's what I call the person in Nine of Wands, my spirit warrior. And in that reflection, that's where you maybe were real with yourself about what or who or both has been toxic in your life. I love that we have the Four of Swords and now the Three of Swords in reverse. So I know the Four of Swords work. And that Four of Swords is coming over an emotional energy where there's a cup coming in. So any past pains, any past relationships that maybe didn't work out in the way that you had hoped, I have a feeling we're kind of against, like, what's the word I want to use? Well, let's just say I feel like it ran its course. And I feel like any help that you tried to give, let's just say you tried. And sometimes that has to be enough. Like, I tried. And it doesn't have to be a lover, it could be a friend, it could be anyone. But sometimes enough is enough. But, anyways, the Three of Swords in reverse. Beautiful. We have the King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. You know why I feel like this King showed though? Because I feel like if this is relating, well, let's say a couple things. First of all, the King of Pentacles, because I often, like, I'll give you the signs, but then I don't think about the signs anymore. I think about their energy. King of Pentacles is someone, when they look at a situation, or even if I'm looking at my life, I look at the big picture. I look at the big picture. Now, I also feel if this is someone who's coming in, male or female, by the way, to me, the King of Pentacles represents loyalty. Now, I already know some of you have been with earth signs where you're going to be like, no way, not my person. And I agree with you. Not every, it's like not every Libra is the same, thank God. But you do carry certain elements, like the Libras in my life are so creative, especially in the musical field. And I'm talking about 3 generations that I know of so far. What am I holding? Um, I also feel this is someone who wouldn't be coming in and be like, hey, can I borrow some money? This is someone I feel would be stable. And I do not feel like your spiritual team would usher them in otherwise. Because it is like the way I'm picking it up, it is showing like the hardships that you've dealt with, but really how they have taught you and how you have evolved because of them. And maybe where you stop trusting in love, which I get, this king seems to represent more than just an earth sign to me. It seems to represent the type of person, male or female. They may do something for a living very similar to yours. You know, if judgment is ushering, and again, 2 spiritual teams, well, we know it's the lovers. So I feel like it's important not to carry the past energy into what is going to be new. You know, it's almost making a new person pay the price for what someone else did before we even get to know them. I'm not saying you would do that, but that really is what it's like, though. You know, if we don't clear past energy, then we are carrying it forward with us. And I do feel like that happens often. You know, we put all this worry on another's shoulders. Well, some shoulders are strong enough to carry it, and some shoulders will help you. But I have a feeling this is telling you don't assume that whoever is coming in next is automatically going to hurt you. I feel the opposite. I feel like you've learned so many life lessons that you're now reaping the benefits of that. But maybe you don't realize that yet. All right, let's keep going. 3 of Pentacles. Beautiful. You know, it's interesting because the 3 of Pentacles is coming under these 2 difficult ends, but it's coming under the lovers. 3 of Pentacles, let's say in love, I love it as it relates to love because just how the lovers are naked, that's what I feel in the 3 of Pentacles. Like being admired for what you do and who you are. For some of you, it could be a secret admirer, but I don't mean that in a creepy way. I mean that in like someone recognizing you for who you are. And what I also love when it's coming over the lovers is it's the recognition of each other. And it's a celebration of each other's individuality. Like, I wouldn't ask you to be anyone else than you are in this energy if it's relating to love. And I do feel like it's relating to love, but I also feel like it's relating to your money. Like, I feel like your team just wants to talk about everything. This is a great energy for also your creative projects or your career. And maybe they're combined. Maybe that's why I keep separating them, because I'm feeling like I separate them and I feel like, they feel like they meant to go together. So this is talking about then, well, I feel like it's telling you how great you can be at something as long as you focus on it. And it's interesting because that's what this person is doing. Like they're focusing on their pentacles. They're in their creative house. And that may be where you feel the most comfortable. We have the Hermit, card of Virgo. That's definitely about spiritual clarity. You know, it's interesting because the Hermit is mirroring the Emperor. And the Emperor, I feel, is a leader. Um, I do feel like the Emperor is a natural healer in the upright. He's looking right at the Strength card, but he's mirroring the Hermit. And I feel like what this is talking about is your spirituality and the things you have learned along the way. And some of you, you know, whether you're doing it through music, lyrics, poems, writing, and I don't even want to put a limit on it because I feel like it can be anything. You know, the Hermit does talk about going through the dark night of the soul. Well, it definitely feels like you have with the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Swords there. But then the healing, it shows up immediately after that. And then your own realization. And then you're moving on. So you are cutting the fat. You are getting rid of the toxicity. This is, I feel like, opening up your spirituality like never before. And what I love is this Hermit is, you either see the Hermit going into a cave, which means I'm seeking the light, I'm seeking spiritual clarity, or you'll see the Hermit emerge from the cave, which it has here, shining his beacon of light outwardly. And I feel like that's to help others. Even how he's sitting on a cliff reminds me of the Fool all of a sudden. Interesting, I never realized that. Spiritually, taking a leap of faith. And then beautiful, another night, but my favorite night, the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles tells you, number one, I come at the right time, not before, not after. And the reason I don't come until the timing is right is because what I bring you can change your life. But it needs your nurturing. It needs your attention. And that's why I come at the right time. I want to make sure that you can take what I bring and grow it and let it blossom. This is, I feel, your guardian angel. And then look what follows, the star. Your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. You know, it's interesting because I feel like we've been talking about this, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. But I feel like this reading is about how to get there, how to really manifest the type of life that you want. I'm not saying your life is terrible. Some of you may be pretty happy, but there still seems to be some changes you may want to make. And how beautiful the Knight of Cups is looking right at the star. The star is a card of Aquarius, by the way. I should say that. But how do you like that? A guardian angel who comes at the right time that opens up your hopes, your dreams, and your wishes. These belong to you. These are like gifts that you were given that you hadn't received yet. And now it's like it's your birthday. And the best birthday yet. You know, I definitely feel like you've been doing a lot of clearing. I do not feel like, it's been easy peasy. But I definitely see you coming out the other end stronger than you've ever been. And by the way, I feel like once you go through the Nine of Wands energy, you know yourself. And when you truly know and value yourself, I can tell you that when energy comes toward you, and it does feel like energy comes toward you first, and it is both the Knight of Wands, that you feel it in a different way. It's almost like your spiritual team is saying we had to clear up this fear, and it could only come through personal reflection. But once you've done that, that literally is opening the door to everything. Everything. And how do you want it to be? I mean, I don't feel like, your spiritual team is like, well, it's got to be this way or that way. It's your creativity, it's yours. What do you want to do with it? What dreams do you have? What do you want to manifest? Like this is saying, this is the time. All of a sudden, I'm getting excited. Like you want to be a business owner? Be a business owner. Some of you, I feel natural healing, like healing abilities. And now maybe that's what you're going to do. You may say, well, how do I know that I'm even qualified? Well, you lived life. That makes you qualified. This isn't about having a degree, though I'm not going to leave that off the table. If you have a degree in something, but you hadn't been able to use it, this may be the time that you are going to use it. But I feel this is more about like a degree of life. Knight of Wands or the Knight of Pentacles. If nothing else, the Knight of Pentacles, who again tells you I come at the right time and is literally carrying your hopes and dreams and wishes, but it's following the Hermit. And the Hermit shining the beacon of light outwardly, well, that would definitely put you in the healer's category. Doesn't mean you have to do that. Just, a better way of looking at that is just know that you just naturally now carry that. And whether I do it for a living or not, literally, again, you're walking down the street, you see someone's eyes are down, you can just tell it, you feel it. You feel in your heart, they're going through something. So you decide to be just like, hi, just hello. And their eyes look up, and maybe your eyes connect. And maybe unbeknownst to you, you just made their day. Or you somehow, some way, gave them the guts to make their life better. Like, we don't realize that people we're helping. And maybe we're not meant to. Now, that's just one scenario. And I feel like that is forevermore. But I can definitely see some of you taking this ability and creating a business out of it. When I see the emperor, I feel like if nothing more, it's starting at a promotion. But honestly, I feel like business ownership for those who are looking for it. Or taking creative projects that may have been on a back burner and bringing them to the front burner. And who knows, it may end up being something that you do. It's like how I felt someone was writing lyrics. You just might write a number one hit and you just don't know it yet. And it could be about your life. Okay. Okay. All right. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to pick up these. I'm going to leave the main spread because I get what's being said. Don't forget about the mirroring we're seeing also. Like, I don't know that that's for everyone, but I do feel like, again, I feel like you're going to feel like you probably would already be feeling like, oh, I just feel like there's going to be a change. Especially if your intuition is open. It's like, oh, something feels like there's going to be a change. All right, so the only question, though I really don't have a question, I guess the only thing that I really wanted to look at a little deeper is the lovers, because there's so much passion wrapped around them. This King of Swords definitely brought out those two tens. So I'm not sure if this is someone who is moving forward. Let's just put it this way. If this king was the cause of the Ten of Swords, I pray that he's not moving forward with you. But let's see. Oh my gosh. Knight of Swords. Communication. This person's on a white horse. And to me, that means I can trust this communication. It's interesting. I'm looking at this knight, and he looks like he is flying over, like the dark clouds, the darkness. Like he is risen above the darkness. Wow. And then look at this, the world, your next chapter. The world talks about completion. So something has come to completion. And maybe the Two Swords is talking about I just have to let it come to completion. But then we could jump right back to that Nine of Wands where the Six of Swords came out. So if it has anything to do with toxicity and completion, yes, I'll accept that. But I also feel the world speaks about the most spiritual time in your life. And I love that the High Priestess is here as it relates to this really being the most spiritual time in your life. Because that means you're trusting your intuition probably like you never had before. And it may really be asking you to trust your intuition because I feel like the Knight of Swords is some type of communication. It's coming in that has risen above the dark. Remember how we saw two judgments where, we have two lovers. So they themselves might have had to find their way into the light and out of the dark. But what I really love is that the lovers are connected now to the world. So we know that the lovers are part of this next chapter. And the Knight of Swords seems to be, well, even the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is more energy. It's like feeling it before it actually happens. But the Knight of Swords would be some type of communication. And I can tell you that this definitely feels like it's coming up the light. And I have a feeling that this person also had to get through the dark. I mean, who hasn't, I guess? Who hasn't? Except for those who choose not to get through it. See if anything else wants to come out with that. Ace of Swords. Wow. I forget what deck it is. I think it's a Psychic Tarot. They call the Ace of Swords Triumphant Success. What I want you to notice with this sword, excuse me, the roses, red roses, which to me is a symbol of love. Climbing up, we'll just call this a vine. Butterflies, right? Once a caterpillar, transformed into this beautiful butterfly. Transformation. Just realize the Ace of Swords is now over the Ace of Wands. Let's just put it this way. I definitely feel for some of you, this is love. And I feel like maybe one of the best ways that you could, if you choose to move forward, if you're still carrying any fear, is through conversation. Long, deep conversation. It will reveal so much. And I have a feeling one of the things it's going to reveal is the, well, almost mirroring lies, mirroring of lies, but not together. Like each going through, this sounds perfect. This sounds just like soulmate energy. Because I know my guys, or even twin flames, I know my guys have told me many times, you can meet a soulmate or a twin flame earlier in life, but then it is maybe was not meant to work at that time. And one of the reasons could be because your soul also had other things it wanted to accomplish. But I do feel like soulmates and twin flames definitely mirror each other. They are each other's healers. They are each other's mirrors. And let's say the Nine of Wands never happened. Like, I didn't take that time to look back and look at my life, but look at it from a standpoint of how I have grown, both on an earthly level, but also on a spiritual level. It puts a whole new twist when things start coming your way. Number one, I feel like if you've gone through the Nine of Wands, then you probably can read energy. And that may be why the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Wands surround the lovers. But now we have the actual movement, right? The world is telling us this is part of your new chapter. If you choose, that will be your free will. But let me tell you, your spiritual team is doing everything in their power to let you know that this is different. Why? Because you're different. Because your vibration is higher. And therefore, what comes in will be also of a higher vibration. It does feel predestined. I'm not going to lie. And I know that's not going to be everyone, but it feels like this is its time. This is its time. Okay. I'm not going to overthink that. What I want to do is bring in the clarifying love situations. The beginning of the reading, I feel like what it's saying is, if you're getting caught up in drama, make a decision. Like, look at it and decide, like, is this drama worth it? Where it's telling you to stand your ground, but yet it comes in reverse. It's not that you don't have a right to stand your ground. I feel like what it's saying is it worth standing your ground? Will it get you anywhere? Or will it just be the same old, same old? And that's why we saw the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Swords. And that's why the Seven of Wands is in reverse. Because sometimes standing your ground, yeah, like maybe I want an apology or something. But I feel like your spiritual team is like, trust me, things you think that you needed won't even cross your mind. All right. Whirlwind. Well, oh, well. Don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. It's interesting. Sometimes I think I should just be quiet and take a card. Because many times what I just said, a card comes up and speaks about that exact thing. So don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. And that's what you're doing with the Six of Swords. You were saying no more drama, no more toxicity. I choose peace. And then we have crossed paths, a mismatch of intentions, clashing perspectives, a journey misled, seeks alignment. Okay, well, that makes me feel like that someone who, let's say, put those swords in your back, it could have been more free will. Let me give you an example. Early in my life, um, I just kept picking the wrong person. And it took me years to understand that the reason why these people kept coming to me because I myself was in a very low vibration. And the universe doesn't decipher. It just thinks that's what you want. Right? Those are the intentions. But when you know better, you do better. So I feel like the reason why I'm saying this is to take pressure off yourself. All right. Let's see if anything else wants to come out. Well, it did. Like we just been waiting for you, Sandy. Missed chances. Don't have regrets. Cherish your moments together. Missed chances. Don't have regrets. Cherish your moments together. And then we have eternal renewal. In the cycle of life, understanding breeds hope for what comes next. All right, that didn't sound right. In the cycle of life, understanding breeds hope for what comes next. Eternal renewal. Well, did I not feel that some of you had at least 3 lifetimes together? And this is an opportunity. And maybe for some of you, it has been a while. Like, it's like you've kissed a lot of frogs. But here comes your prince or your princess. Understanding breeds hope. We literally had hope. The star card right behind that, or right below that. Okay. Last but not least, let's go ahead and just pick these up. Let's bring out the romance angels and see what they have to say. Engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. This reminds me of the Four of Wands. You know, does it have to be a literal engagement? Well, for some, maybe. Like, I'm not going to take that away from you. But this does feel like the Four of Wands, where I feel like it's more about true commitment. But yet you do have all this fire around the lovers. So for some of you, it could be very fast. Like you meet, you talk, you fall in love, you get married, or you get engaged. And then look at this. Wow. It's like the only thing we missed was the marriage, the wedding, right? Went from the engagement to the honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Holiday time. Holiday time. What's coming up? What holidays are coming up? And I guess it depends really what part of the world you're in also. And it's interesting because this person looks like they're in a gondola. But it looks like they're crossing waters. So some of you, I wouldn't be surprised if you meet someone who could be across the world. But listen, you know, before Sam and I came together, we didn't live in the same state. We just didn't. We do now. We live together now. But even that, And, Sam and I are twin flames, but it took me 5 years to feel comfortable enough to leave to move in with him. And many of you already know my story, but it's the silly things that I worried about, like having to wear makeup every day. I don't want to do that. Having to make sure my hair looks perfect every day. That's just not me. Making sure my clothes are beautiful every day. Well, you know, just not who I am. It's not that I don't want to look good. You know what I mean? But I hate wearing makeup. It bothers me. Not that I never wear it, but I don't wear it in the house. And it's so funny because that was a big reason why it took me so long to move here, because I really kept thinking, like, I can't live every day having to get up. Maybe I was just used to being alone. I don't know. I wasn't even alone that long. But, so I moved here, and I think I probably put makeup on. I've been here over 5 years now, and maybe I put makeup on 2, 3 times, but we were probably going somewhere. I don't know that I've ever put makeup on here just to be around the house, you know, because I'm usually working. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like now I can look back and be like, what a silly fear that was. But at the time, it was very real to me. You know what I mean? And it was something I had to overcome. And it took me time. And maybe that's part of what's happening here. Like, conversation may start first. And that's what happened with us. Like, we talked. When he first called me, from that point on, we talked on the phone every single night. I mean, I didn't watch TV anymore. We were on the phone all night long. He even called me at my work, and I'd be like, you can't keep calling me at work. But he kept calling me. We could not talk. But I still had that fear. And the only reason I'm telling you this is because, I don't know, like, don't let these little fears come between you and really all that can be. But in the same breath, you have the right to take your time. But look how fast the passion grows. And by the way, there was a lot of passion on the phone. It was us getting to know each other as adults. We knew each other as teenagers. There was a lot of passion on the phone. So even if you are not in the same area right now, that's not going to stop the passion. And maybe someone ultimately makes the decision to cross that water. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. The opportunity is showing. Two spiritual teams are guiding two together. Please don't forget about the money, your creative, your creative avenue, because that's just as important. When it says your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, and the ability to manifest them, it doesn't have to be one thing. Like, literally, it feels like the spotlight was meant to be on you. It feels like victory and success should be yours. If you haven't found it yet, then I feel like this is the ticket to finding it. Okay. Wow. I'm going to let that be, Libra. Um, did we look under the tower? Yeah, the Eight of Pentacles and Judgment. We looked at that already. Okay. So, this is really what I feel is meant to be an empowering reading to help those overcome maybe those last little hurdles. And remember, there's a lot of free will in here, and your spiritual team can't cross that boundary. So they can give you signs. They will guide you, and they want to guide you. But you do have to trust them. So I feel like the biggest thing is no blindfold. Trust your intuition. Put those intentions out there, and it doesn't have to be like, I want to be rich and I want to be a famous guitar player. Well, I don't know why I'm saying that. You can be that. You can be that. So, yeah, why am I putting any limits on it? There are no limits. There are no limits. I love you guys. I thank you. I really am sending you so much love and energy to help for those who feel a little stuck to just get over that hurdle because I feel like it's that one hurdle and then hello, new life. Now, it doesn't mean like maybe 90% of your life is just fine. Well, hello, new 10%. You know what I mean? Or 50% of your life, or maybe your money's fine, but love, is not great. Well, hello, new love. Well, new and old. I want to start a business. This Ace of Wands. It's like the fire. So I feel like there's nothing off the table here. But yet I keep talking, so I'm going to stop. I love you guys. I thank you for your patience, number one. Um, I feel like this is just about once you find balance, everything else just seems to just fall in place. So it kind of feels magical, but yet there is no way I'm going to take away the power of you because you're the one who is really helping to bring this about. And if nothing else you take from this reading, how I hope it empowers you is by looking back at your own history and seeing the things that you've overcome that at the time you probably thought you never would, but yet you did. You did. And be proud of that. So, if nothing else, I hope you pick up that message because your spiritual team wants you to know that. All right, I'm going to let that be. I love you. I thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Happy August. And when I say August, when you see the World card, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And all is possible. And I just want to tell myself that all is possible. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. I love you.